We're going to start with a really quick unboxing of this UTechSmart Venus laser gaming mouse with 16,400 DPI and 18 buttons, all of which are programmable and set up to be used with macros. Inside you get a foam-lined pop-top container with 8 individual weights for customization. You also get the mouse itself. On the left side of the mouse are 12 buttons. It's set up very similar to the Logitech G600 and to a lesser extent the Razer Naga MMO mouse. You also get an extra set of 3M Teflon feet, an instruction manual, and an installation CD. Each of the weights is just shy of 2.5 grams of weight. You get about 20 grams worth of customization, or close to 3/4 and a penny worth of weight. The mouse itself is 155 or so grams with the cord, 111 or so without it. And if you put in all of the weights without the cord, it's somewhere around 125 grams worth of weight. If we plug in the mouse for the first time here, you see that it defaults to red pulsing light and the highest CPI DPI rating, which is 16,400. The left side buttons also pulse red, as do a couple of LEDs on the front lights near the cord. There's a button on the bottom that switches between 5 user customizable profiles. Each one by default has a different color and a different CPI DPI setting. My hand is about 19 centimeters long, measuring from where my wrist meets my hand to the tip of my middle finger. And in my hand, this fingertip grip is really comfortable. The thumb buttons are right where I would expect them to be. I can pick the mouse up. It's a little heavy with all the weights in it, but it's not too bad. This curved surface over here on the right where my pinky is isn't the best grip in the world, but I don't think it's going to cause me too much concern. If I use a palm grip like I'm about to use now, that's even more comfortable, and you won't be lifting the mouse up nearly as much with that grip either. The mouse is a little tall for a claw grip, so maybe that's just my hand. I also found that the Razer Naga was too tall for a claw grip, but some people love it. This left thumb area, the thumb rest, I thought might get in the way of me pressing some of these lower buttons, but it actually doesn't, and it's pretty comfortable. By default, 1 through 10 is numeric 1 through 10 on your number row, and 11 and 12 are the minus and plus keys. This top area is a little smooth. You might feel that if you're using a palm rest, and it will stick out because the rest of this has this really nice rubberized coating. It feels really good in the hand, and it doesn't feel cheap like some of the really old Logitech mice, such as the G9, which is a really popular mouse, really ergonomic, but had some peeling issues after extended use. So this video is from when I first opened this mouse, but I'm coming back to do the voiceover a couple weeks after using it. It's replaced my primary mouse on my desktop for gaming. It has an Avago 9800 series laser sensor, which is the same one that's used in the Logitech G600. And I found the tracking to be really good. It's comfortable. It's the finger buttons for button number 1 and 2 are just a little bit further apart than I'd like. This button here is set to triple click, which is useless, but it can be reprogrammed, and the positioning on it's better than I expected. You can easily change the CPI or DPI settings with these mouse buttons on the back, but the default goes all the way up to 16,400, which is completely unusable, and honestly I think it's actually interpolated. The rubberized mouse wheel is very nice. It's smooth, but you can feel the individual clicks. It does not have a left to right tilt, but as a side effect of that, when you press it, it very much feels like a button. It's a lot nicer for me because I never used the left to right scrolling ability on my old mouse anyway, and I never used the middle mouse click because I was always afraid I was going to hit something else or it didn't feel right. This plug is a little long, but it's gold coated and it's nice. To check a lift-off distance on the mouse, I stacked up pieces of paper and then made sure that the sensor was in the middle. It took 11 pieces of paper, which worked out to be exactly 1 millimeter of lift-off distance before the cursor wouldn't move at all. That's on top of whatever small distance you'd get from the mouse feet themselves. I'm not going to get too much into the software. It has a few quirks, a couple grammar issues, but it does do everything you need, and it's clear enough to get it done. You can set up macros and record them. You can change all 5 of the profiles. You can change colors to a nearly infinite number of colors. What I will say is you're going to want to come in here. You're going to want to change the polling rate to 1000 rather than 500 so that the mouse gets its updates as often as possible. You're going to want to change probably all 5 of these profiles on the DPI settings. Anything more than half of the 16,400 I believe is interpolated, so it really doesn't do you any good. And honestly, anything over 4,000, unless you have a 4K monitor, is pretty much unusable. I crank these way down so that I can cycle through the 5 and still get usable flow from my mouse. I wound up personally somewhere around 1300 CPI or DPI for MMO gaming, and then I like to be able to toggle it up to about 2000. So it goes in steps between 1000 and 2000 on mine. I don't go anywhere near the 16,400 this thing is capable of. Cannot change the color on the scroll wheel in this software, but you can change the color on the pulsing lights. I like for them all to basically match, so I have red set on the profile that I tend to use, and then on the secondary profile that I use for something else, I have it all set to blue or green. The only other thing you're going to probably want to know in here is that I updated to version 1.1 of the software and it still said 1.0, so if that happens to you, don't be too surprised. Even if you uninstalled it, almost anything you set up will stay on the mouse because there's onboard memory, which is really nice if you just hit OK or apply, but you can always reset it back. This mouse surprised me, honestly. I expected it to be pretty nice. I mean, it is a $40 mouse, but what I didn't expect is that it would become my primary driver on my desktop. I like this mouse a little bit more than I like the Logitech G600, although I do miss the ring finger button. The index finger button on this one is nice, but it doesn't have quite as much functionality. This mouse just fits my hand a bit better. I also like it more than I like the Razer Naga, my old MX1100 laser mouse, which fit my hand very well. I like it more than the G9 that I used to have that was peeling. Basically, every mouse I've ever used, this is my favorite. That's not to say it's perfect. The 2 buttons for left and right click are separated a little bit further than they probably should be. I wish I could change all of the colors on the mouse, and I do wish that since they added that ring finger rest that they would have made that into a button that you could program as well. Anything I can see wrong with this mouse is nitpicky. It has onboard memory to store everything, it's cheap, and it just fits my hand perfectly. All 12 of those buttons on my thumb are extremely usable, and the index finger button, although it's not convenient to hit, is just fine for things like, say, getting on a mount in World of Warcraft. I recommend this mouse highly. Check it out. I have the links below. Feel free to give me any comments or feedback. If you have any questions about this mouse or something else, let me know and I'll answer you as best as I can.